Photo by August Alberts. The old country road sprawled on for miles in either direction. Mariah had already driven 50 of them, her eyes arching from the constant motion of the wheat fields flickering by. She used to travel for magazine shoots, city skylines and glass towers glinting beneath her lens. For a while, her name had meant something. Architectural photographer, rising star, the woman who captured the pulse of the modern skyline. That was years ago. Now she took whatever jobs came her way. Real estate listings, abandoned warehouses, the kind of work that kept the lights on and the rent just barely paid. Which is how she found herself driving toward the middle of nowhere, hired by email, and promised a modest check to document the remains of the Sterlin Mansion before demolition. Built before the Civil War, its land had once been a tobacco plantation. The job description had said only, "Photograph every room as it stands." By early afternoon, she arrived. The main house rose from the weeds like a carcass picked half clean. One wing had collapsed entirely, its timbers jutting at strange angles. The other stood barely upright, strangled in vines. The air was heavy with the scent of damp rot and honeysuckle. Mariah parked in the overgrown drive, grabbed her duffel, and stepped out. The front doors hung crooked on their hinges, one broken loose long ago. She nudged it open with her shoulder and entered. Dust coated everything, thick enough to soften her footsteps. Only a few set of prints broke the surface, probably left by squatters or thrill-seekers hoping for a last look before the place was gone. She could relate to that. The entrance hall was once magnificent, a chandelier skeleton dangling from the ceiling, the remnants of a staircase curving upward into shadow. She unpacked her gear with a familiar rhythm, tripod, lenses, the camera she'd used since her prime. When she looked through the viewfinder, she felt the old spark again, the thrill of capturing something. Even decay had its beauty. She snapped the first few photos, adjusting for light slanting through broken windows. The foyer looked almost regal when framed right. Through the lens, the ruins softened, becoming memory instead of rot. Then, as she reviewed her shots, she froze. One photo showed the grand staircase not as it was, but as it had been. The banister gleamed gold. The carpet was whole, crimson, and lush. Strings of lights twinkled along the railing. Wrapped boxes sat neatly on a few of the steps. It looked like Christmas. Mariah blinked. Maybe a reflection? She took another photo. Flash. The staircase appeared again, fully restored. In reality, it was the same wreckage of beams and dust, but in her viewfinder, another time. She inched closer, heart hammering. Each shot revealed more detail. The curve of crown molding, the shimmer of a chandelier reborn. She could almost hear the echo of voices, laughter, faint and far away. Her breath caught as she zoomed in. At the top of the stairs, in the photo, stood a pair of legs. Slender, pale, wearing deep burgundy heels. She lowered the camera. The real staircase ended abruptly halfway up. Nothing but air above the rubble. She raised the lens again. The legs were still there. Closer this time. A thrill shot through her. She should have left then, but the artist in her couldn't. She had spent years chasing lost light, forgotten architecture, the soul of a place. And here it was, a house remembering itself through her. She raised her camera and took another shot. Flash. The legs were descending now. Flash. Closer. Flash. Mariah's fingers trembled. The air seemed thicker, the dust motes hanging in the light like suspended ash. She could almost smell perfume, faint, floral, like lilac and static. Something in her, instinct or madness, urged her to climb. The first step held her. Though the wood beneath was gone, her foot met something solid, invisible, but real. Her pulse roared in her ears. She took another step. Flash. The photo showed her on the staircase, mid-motion, smiling faintly. She didn't remember smiling. Flash. Another step. The legs above her now paused, as if waiting. She laughed, giddy and breathless, ascending a staircase that shouldn't exist. The thrill of creation, of discovering, filled her chest until it almost hurt. At the top, she raised her camera one last time. The figure was gone. Only a faint outline of a woman's dress lingered in the dust, or perhaps in her lens. "Thank you," whispered a voice behind her. The sound was soft, reverent. The step beneath her vanished. When the demolition crew arrived 3 days later, no one had heard from Mariah. Her car sat in the drive, keys still inside. They found her camera on a tripod in the foyer. The first photos showed the house exactly as expected, decayed, hollow, waiting for the wrecking ball. But as they clicked through, the images changed. The staircase repaired itself. The chandeliers gleamed. The windows opened into the daylight, though the timestamps said the photos were taken past dusk. And there she was, the photographer, ascending the restored stairs, smiling faintly, as if being welcomed home. In the last frame, a woman stood behind her, skin stretched thin, fingers long and reaching, face hidden in a blur.